In the middle of southern Africa, there's a vast uncharted sea of golden grassland. Remote and wild, it was once home to huge herds grazing the savanna. And predators lurking, waiting to take their pick. But 30 years of civil war decimated the abundant wildlife. Now peace has returned to this damaged yet beautiful Eden. An extraordinary band of conservationists is trying to restore these grasslands to their former glory. For over 100 years, Zambia's Liuwa Plain was preserved by the Lozi people as a royal hunting ground. Now a national park, it is one of the oldest wildlife reserves in Africa. Its grasslands stretch more than 3,600 square kilometers in the old kingdom of Barotseland that straddles the remote northwest frontier of Zambia and Angola. Historically, lions were the rulers of these plains. But not anymore. Almost 30 years of civil war in neighboring Angola changed that. The effects of the war, which began after independence in 1975, spilled over into Zambia, and Liuwa's lions paid a high price. They were shot, and their prey killed for meat. In the end, just one solitary lioness survived. Liuwa's ecosystem teetered on the edge. Given time, nature can usually heal itself. But replacing the missing pieces of the ecological jigsaw often requires human intervention. Understanding what's going on in an ecosystem this huge is the first challenge. The solution is to concentrate on the apex predators. In Liuwa, that now means the hyena. Normally, hyenas and lions are mortal enemies, competing for prey. But here, the absence of lions has allowed the hyenas to be the heavyweight champions of hunting. If the food chain's top carnivores are doing well, it normally means all the animals are recovering. So the Zambian carnivore program closely monitors the apex predators to check on the health of the whole ecosystem. It's 6 a.m., a new day. The scientists' first task is to find the predators. It requires a head for heights. Large carnivores are elusive and range over thousands of square kilometers, so researchers track them using radio collars. From the top of the radio tower, it's possible to pick up the signal from any collar within 7 kilometers. For the last 7 years, the Zambian carnivore program has been studying hundreds of individual predators and detailing their impact on their prey, making this one of the most comprehensive studies of predation ever undertaken. Having got a rough fix on a hyena from the radio tower, senior researcher Dan Schmidt heads out. This is a vast land with no roads and few landmarks. It's parched and empty. There's a drought and food is in short supply. Most of the great herds of migratory prey are still way up north, where there is more water and food. They will only come south with the rains. Then the rivers will rise and flood the plains, transforming Liuwa into a green land of life and water. Following the wildlife in the wet season becomes much more difficult, so the scientists need to gather as much data now as possible. At ground level, the range of Dan's receiver shrinks to 1.5 kilometers. Homing in on the target takes trial and error. Every day, the scientists seek out the predators. Dan takes pictures to identify the hyenas, and he records their position and activity. Liuwa's hyenas are some of the biggest in Africa. Having spent years in the field with them, Dan thinks they're misunderstood.
Some people look at hyenas like they still steal kills. They don't look pretty like a lion or a cheetah. Yeah, hyenas do have a bad reputation, but I think everybody who has come to Liuwa and has seen hyenas here, everybody will change their opinion about hyenas.
While rarely a threat to humans, hyenas are still dangerous predators and shouldn't be approached except by experts. Dan knows that during the heat of the day, the hyenas aren't in hunting mode. But later on, when the sun goes down, it will be a different story. In the cool of the evening, researcher Teddy Makula finds a small group of hyenas emerging from the long grass. He's been studying Liuwa's hyenas for the last 2 years. They look like they're getting ready to go hunting. Teddy will attempt to stay with them. Hyenas are much underrated. Most people think they're mainly scavengers, but they'd be wrong. The researchers have found that Liuwa's hyenas are highly efficient predators, and the Zambian carnivore program is working to understand what impact this has on the other animals here. Hyenas are so successful, they're the most common large carnivores in Africa. They have complex societies based on status and female dominance.
Hyenas have a great social interaction. You know, they have just that social interaction that is really unique from other carnivores, and the hierarchy is very, very highly respected, and everyone knows what their place. Yeah, they know what they are supposed to do. They know what they are not supposed to do, and they are just they look out for each other very well. Yeah.
And hyenas are very inquisitive. Luckily, there are better things to eat than Teddy's tires. To understand a predator, you have to see it hunt. But tracking hyenas at night is a challenge. The hyenas are stalking a herd of wildebeest. An electrical storm, a precursor to the imminent rains, helps camouflage their approach. Suddenly, the hyenas give chase. Running at 60 kilometers per hour.
She's going. Yeah. She's.
It's impossible to keep up.
There.
Teddy drives with one hand and tries to keep track of the hyenas with the other. The hyenas target adult wildebeest, often picking out the old or the weak and chasing them to exhaustion. Success. The hyenas quickly pull the wildebeest to the ground, devouring their prey as fast as they can. With their acute hearing, any hyenas within 8 kilometers could hear the commotion and try to grab a share of the kill. Observing hyena kills gives a wealth of information on what they eat and how this affects both clan and prey. By putting all this together, Ted is building up a detailed picture of the hyena's role in the ecosystem. Whereas big cats can leave up to 40% of a carcass, hyenas eat their way through skin and bone. In little over an hour, there will be virtually nothing left. With so much to do before the rains finally arrive, keeping their bikes going is essential. Teddy is teaching new researcher Shadrick some field maintenance. In the middle of nowhere, you really don't want to break down.
Yeah, we don't have a mechanic to do this for us. So what we do is we learn this ourselves. We have to do this ourselves.
The researchers spend long hours alone on their bikes in the middle of the plain. Breakdowns can attract attention of the four-legged variety.
The hyenas are very inquisitive and curious at the same time. They can come as close as possible. They would want to sniff your your handlebars while you're still holding them. And yeah, they've got teeth. You just need to be careful, yeah.
The spare bikes also need to be checked because the team is getting reinforcements.
So this year we have, you've seen probably...
Jasil Msoka is one of the project's co-founders. In 2009, he helped set up the Liuwa research program. He's now a senior ecologist for the Zambian Department of Parks and Wildlife, based in Lusaka. But he returns to Liuwa regularly to help out. Jasil heads out onto the plains to search for predators. Circling vultures lead the researchers to a kill. A hyena is eating what's left of a wildebeest. With almost no lions to worry about, Liuwa's hyena numbers are increasing. They're organized into super clans up to 80 strong. This female is from North Clan, one of 5 hyena families in the study. She's a long way from home, scavenging a kill.
This is a hyena that we've known from before. She's been in the study for at least 5 years. It's good to know that they're still alive and still in the study.
Jasil knows some of the hyenas so well, he can recognize them by their markings. At about 70 kilograms, this female is bigger than the approaching male, and she outranks him. The male will have to make do with the leftovers. Jasil and Shadrach want to take a closer look at the remains of the kill. The hyenas here are wary of people and back off. They collect samples to gather data. There's not much left, but teeth and hair samples will reveal the wildebeest's age and condition. This carcass is one of hundreds the researchers will study. Each provides clues to the intricate dynamics of the ecosystem. To be ranging so far into another clan's territory, the North Clan must be struggling. To find out why, Jasil wants to take a look at the clan's den. Hyenas rear their cubs in underground dens. The area around the den is communal, and at twilight, it's the center of the clan's social life. But the hunting adults of the North Clan are out, still searching far and wide for food. All the cubs can do is wait at the relative safety of the den. With the drought caused by El Niño, this is a tough year. The researchers have already discovered the drought's first victims. A neighboring den abandoned, with 7 cubs dead inside. When times are tough, the mothers don't always make it back to the den to feed their cubs. If the North Clan adults don't return in the next couple of days, these cubs will die. The researchers head back to camp to record the day's findings. It's 7 a.m. Project leader Matt Becker is out surveying the grassland's eastern sector. 7 years ago, Matt helped Jasil set up the carnivore research program. He spots an old friend. She's Lady, the world-famous last lioness of Liuwa. Potentially as old as 16, she's ancient for a lion, but she's in remarkably good shape. For nearly a decade, she lived all alone on these vast plains. Lions are the only truly social cats. Lionesses typically live together, raising cubs and sharing kills. In the absence of any other lions, Lady became so lonely that she started going into the Liuwa field camp.
It was quite common to have her come into camp and just be hanging out at camp at a level that you wouldn't typically be comfortable with, or wouldn't be wise to have a lion in that close vicinity. But she's just accustomed to that. She has never, endangered anyone.
Out of respect, the lioness became known as Lady Liuwa.
You can't not find her remarkable, and that doesn't have anything to do with science or research or conservation or anything. It's just a remarkable animal.
Liuwa is being protected and restored by the African Parks Network. To cure Lady's loneliness, in 2009, African Parks introduced 2 males. But Lady failed to conceive, so Matt's team worked with African Parks to introduce a new lioness. They called her Sepu, the local word for hope, as she'd hopefully kickstart a new generation while learning from Lady. In 2013, in the thick undergrowth by the camp, Sepu had 3 cubs. With Lady's help, she safeguarded them from the hyenas, and now there's a glimmer of hope that lions might be returning to the grasslands.
Lady Liuwa's story is very emblematic of the story of Liuwa Plain in general, something that sort of renewal and recovery. We now have in the twilight years of her life the first pride in over a decade in Liuwa, and you can see them interacting with her. Even though they're not hers, she is obviously the matriarch of this pride. She's a special lion, and she really symbolizes what Liuwa Plain's about.
Being so few in number, the new pride needs intensive levels of care and monitoring. There's a problem. There are only 3 lions. Lady, Sepu, and one of the juveniles. 2 youngsters are missing. They're not wearing radio collars, and they could be anywhere. All the researchers will have to keep their eyes peeled for the missing lions. Back at camp, Jacil heads out again to see if any hyenas from the North Clan have returned to the den. Hyenas can easily range 50 kilometers a night, looking for food. If they made a kill, they should have returned by dawn. The females are back. At long last, the cubs can suckle again. The cubs owe their survival to the richness of their mother's milk. Hyena milk has some of the highest levels of protein and fat of any terrestrial mammal. Each female only nurses her own cubs. This high-ranking female is one of the leaders of the clan. She gets the pick of the food and produces richer milk. Her 2 cubs will grow faster and bigger than the other cubs in the clan. One day, they'll try to take their turn to be the boss. Social interactions teach the cubs the clan's hierarchy. Only high-ranking males and juveniles are allowed anywhere near. All other lowly males have to keep their distance. Jacil photographs each individual so the study can keep track of the changing fortunes in the clan. Back at base, Jacil reviews his data. First, he needs to identify the hyenas from his photos. Their spots are as individual as a human fingerprint. But the study has over 300 hyenas in its database, so it requires an eye for detail.
This looks like this could be the one. This is Liuwa Hyena 474, her nickname Bridget. The sex says here is male, but it's got a female name and yet it's a male. That tells you a lot about sexing hyenas.
Females lead hyena society, and it's very difficult to tell the sexes apart. The females have external genitalia that appears to be almost identical to the males. Hence the confusion. Having identified his hyenas, Jasil can update the records. Thus the study builds up a long-term picture of hyena survival, reproduction, and their impact on the ecosystem. The hyenas in the study area live in 5 competing clans. After 2 years in the field, Dan is getting a picture of the differences between them. By using the radio collars and intensively watching the same individuals, the researchers have been able to see why the struggling North Clan are having to range so far for food. The drought is drying up their already limited access to water, and their prey is staying away. The neighboring hyenas are getting more powerful, and they're squeezing the North Clan's territory. Some of North Clan headed east 2 months ago, and they haven't returned. Three are wearing collars, but their signals are out of range. To keep track of the remaining members of North Clan, the scientists need to collar another high-ranking female. Teddy finds their target hyena cooling off. To collar this wild female, they'll need to dart her. Dan gets the veterinarian in position for a shot. Their target is the one standing up. They circle the hyena first, so she gets used to their presence. Bullseye. The drug quickly takes effect. Project leader Matt isn't far behind.
Copy that. We'll hang back here. Just let us know when to come in.
While working on the sedated animal, there's little risk from the rest of the clan. And there are no lions here. All attention is focused on getting the job done as quickly and with as little discomfort to the animal as possible. They cover the hyena's eyes to protect them from dust and sunlight. Whilst unconscious, carnivores can't control their own temperature well. So the team must carefully monitor the hyena's vital signs and keep her cool.
It's a very big moment of anxiety because you are not guaranteed of the outcome.
Fitting the collar requires a lot of careful adjustment. It must allow room for the hyena to grow, but not be so loose that it might get snagged.
Vet.
They take full advantage of the rare chance to check on the hyena's health and gather more data. Analysis of the DNA will tell them about interrelationships in the clan. Height, length, and teeth help age the animal and provide a profile of this member of the Liuwa population. They secure the collar.
We're just going to back up just a little bit.
Dr. Banda injects the drug to revive the hyena, and everyone quietly retreats to allow her a calm recovery. "15 minutes later, the hyena comes round. She's groggy, but she'll sleep off any after effects before joining tonight's hunt.
Everyone has a job, everyone does it well, and the safety and comfort of the animal is of the utmost importance. And so that is about as smooth as you could ask for. Well done, guys. That was a nice one.
For the next 3 years, the lifespan of the collar, the researchers will be able to keep track of this hyena day and night. They'll follow the fortunes of North Clan, and they'll get a better picture of these hyenas' role in Liuwa's recovery. The female lopes off, unaware that her life will now contribute to the annals of science. All the researchers have their eyes peeled for Lady and Sepu's 2 missing lion cubs. Teddy is searching the southern part of the plain. He knows a spot where the lions sometimes lay up. He finds a cheetah family. Their numbers also crashed during the Civil War. This mother is managing to raise 4 cubs, a big litter for a cheetah. It's another sign that the ecosystem is recovering. There's hyena here, but so far, no young lions. For a man on a motorbike, lions are dangerous. Teddy will never forget the first time he was riding his bike and came across a lion.
When I came here in November 2013, I'd run into a male. And not knowing that my fuel levels in the bike were actually very low, I stopped. Then the lion, became inquisitive. And I was like literally 40, 50 meters away from him. And I'm like, okay, now this is the time to go. And the moment I want to start the bike, and the bike couldn't start. And I was like, what? Eventually I remembered, and I turned to the reserve tank, turned the knob to open up the reserve tank, and boom, there it was. And I tell you, my heart was like, oh, I was carrying it in my hand.
Teddy finds the thicket, and his instincts prove right. But he doesn't want to get too close. It's hard to tell how many are in there. Eventually, he's able to count 5.
Papa Mike for ZCP.
Control, Charles Mamba.
The lions are back.
Lady and Sepu are with all 3 juveniles. The pride is reunited. At base camp the next morning, the team assembles. They've got another collar to deploy, but this involves much higher stakes. It's Lady Liuwa's. Lady is a very old lion, so replacing her collar will be a delicate operation.
Because of her role in the pride, we really need to be able to find her, follow her, and make sure she and the pride, particularly as she ages and may not be as adept of a hunter, may potentially get into some trouble with livestock. We need to be able to find, follow, and hopefully avert any issues.
They find the lions sleeping off a kill. They're used to the vehicle, and Matt's able to get the veterinarian in close. It's an easy shot. Lady is the leader of the pride. So when she lies down, her family initially stays with her, which isn't ideal. As the vehicle slowly approaches, the lions wander off. Matt parks the truck to screen Lady and the team from the rest of the pride. They keep a close eye on Lady's breathing and temperature. Lady's been limping, so they check her paws for any signs of injury. Big pads dampen the sound of a lion's approach. Long hooked claws grip the fleeing prey and pull it to the ground.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so I'll put the bag here.
Lions rely on powerful jaws to bite the throat and suffocate their victims. It's a cold morning, and it looks like rain. They have to keep Lady warm and dry. To support the basic shelter, a little improvisation is needed. The vet doesn't want to stress Lady's system by giving her any more drugs, so they let the sedative wear off naturally. Matt keeps a close eye on Lady's recovery. The rest of the pride becomes curious. They want to come closer, but they're unsure about the plastic sheet. One cub builds up courage for a closer look. The rubber foot on the camera tripod is too tempting. The commotion wakes the old lady. She's not sure where she is. Matt won't leave her side until she's fully recovered and reunited with her family. Without the reversal drugs, it could take hours. It stops raining and the temperature rises. Matt gets a ringside seat as the pride rejoins Lady.
You can see just from the way they interact, Lady is a very important member of the pride, and so it worked out as good as anyone could have hoped. I think when you look out and you see the pride, despite all of the issues, it is a great feeling that hopefully lion recovery is on the right track. If any lion could live a very exceptionally long and rich life, I think it would be Lady. I hope she has many more years, and I know it's It's not forever, but it is hard to imagine Liuwa without Lady.
The long-awaited rains arrive. Quenched at last, Liuwa blooms into life. The plains throng with wildebeest, zebra, and their young. The study has found that wildebeest numbers have nearly tripled. Liuwa is now home to the second largest wildebeest migration in Africa. Carnivore heaven. For the coming months, living will be easier for the North Clan hyenas. In this time of plenty, the cheetah family will grow fat. With the year's collaring finished, the scientists are now able to follow all the action. Under their watchful eyes, one of the great success stories in Africa will continue to unfold. The seasons change. The natural order slowly restores. And Liuwa National Park returns to its former glory.